Thank you. And going to the next slide. So as I said, we are Globe Art Point, an association that represents international professional artists in Finland. And we partner in this KUVATA project, the Visual Artist Expanded Work Fields, with Tampere University of Applied Sciences and with the University of Lapland. And University of Lapland, our Lappi team, is not present today, but they will be participating, and they have also produced these webinars before. And what this project is about, it's on the justification, and the basis is on the very rapid changes in the, also due to the technological development of today, and also the AI and digital tools that have appeared. So this is targeting visual artists on all levels. So already the more established ones, but also the emerging artists entering the visual arts fields. And we have tackled many topics during this webinar series. We started in 24. So this is a 3-year project that started in 2024, and this will continue until the end of this year of 2026. And there have been different webinars on entrepreneurship, networking, the new spaces for visual arts, new visual art galleries, social media expertise, sustainability, also ethical questions and digital expertise, and also AI. So in the future webinars after today's digital archiving webinar, we also have AI dealt with in a more deep way, and also we'll be discussing entrepreneurship in the future. But going to today's topic, which is the digital, yeah, please change the slide. We also have before we go to today's topic, we also have an own website for this project. So please visit our website. So there you see all the archived materials, but also the future upcoming webinar info. And you can also follow us on LinkedIn, and then on each partner's own websites and social media. Yes, and today we have the topic of digital archiving, artworks, and preservation. And we start, we have 2 speakers. There's Susanna Sääskilahti from the Finnish National Gallery, and then Tommi Merelin from Virtual Art Gallery. And they're approaching the topic from different angles. And first we have Susanna speaking with the title of Documentation and Preservation Strategies, Sustainable Formats, and Clear Storage Backup Practices. Susanna is an art historian and curator at the Finnish National Gallery, where she is responsible for the audiovisual archives. Susanna has studied the preservation of media art at Danube University Krems, and at the National Gallery she has collaborated with CSC IT Center for Science Limited to develop a long-term preservation solution for media artworks. And in today's talk, Susanna highlights the key things artists should consider when creating and documenting media art so that it remains understandable and workable in the future. She will outline practical documentation and preservation strategies, such as choosing sustainable formats, using checksums, and establishing clear storage and backup practices, and discuss what to take into account when working with museums or private owners. The aim is to provide simple, accessible ways for artists to support the long-term life and legibility of their media artworks. So please, Susanna, welcome. Your mic is muted.
No. Okay. And then I have, yeah. I guess you can see now my show.
Yes.
Can you hear me and see this? Yes. And so I was kindly introduced, so I won't talk no more about myself, but as I'm working in the Finnish National Gallery, and Finnish National Gallery is, there is a 3 gallery in it. So there is a Cineprocopy Art Museum, it's for older art, and then there is Atheneum Art Museum, and then there is a Museum of Contemporary Art, Kiasma. And I'm head of the EVI archive, and what we have done there for Kiasma's media art, we have a digital preservation solution, and we have developed MediaJam software. It's an open software which we have shared in GitHub, and maybe I will tell it more about it. But so we have tried to develop the whole area so that everybody could have also a possibility to come to preserve their artworks. But one thing which is not so nice is that CSC, Center for Science, it's not for individual, it's for organizations. So that's why it's so good that there will be other solutions as well. So I am an art historian and I work at the interface. So I am not an engineer, but very much between the engineer and art. Yes. And so my subject is long-term preservation strategies for media art and its concept centered documentation and long-term preservation. As we all know, digital information is fundamentally vulnerable by nature. There are rapid changes, and then it's very vulnerable in techniques, and it's more vulnerable than we normally understand, because in many systems have a correcting systems that if there are some corruptions, many programs can handle the information, even if there is small corruptions. So this is important thing to know, that it is very, very vulnerable. Back to history. So in humankind, oldest documents are more than 4,600 years old, and this picture is from Egypt papyrus. And they have survived because there has been used certain kind of inks, and surroundings has been good. But in our days, we use mostly hard drives, and they last 2 to 10 years. And because you are artist, I have tried to think this representation, thinking about your specific area. So as we all know, media art uses digital, electronic, and time-based technologies. It combines visual, auditory, and interactive elements and emphasizes experimentation and cross-disciplinary practices nowadays. And it often involves viewer participation or real-time data. It explores themes related to technology and digital culture. And that's why it requires active preservation due to technological obsolescence. And this is the hardest and trickiest part. And media conservators, they divide media art or time-based media art to two sections. I think it's a little bit partly fast dilemma, but they do it so that they can understand it more. But this, because in new media, there are also videos and pictures and things like that, which are also part of the old media. But, well, this is the divide they do. And old media art uses analog or early digital format, such as film, slides, VHS, Betacam, TV, and audio. And forms are, well, of course, very numerous. And those require specific playback devices, original monitors or projectors, and players are often rare or not longer functioning. So they require digitalization or conversion to new formats. And with CSC, we have done the preservation solution for old media art. So we have a solution helps secure long-term access and stabilize the content of this kind of media art. Then we have a new media art, and it's digital software-based networked, including installation, software, game engine works, online pieces, artificial intelligence, etc. There is numerous ways to do new media art. And it's often process rather than a single object. It unfolds through interaction, real-time data, or system behavior. It's highly dependent on operating systems, code, and hardware, which are quickly or become unsupported. So preservation focuses on maintaining functionality, experience, and context, not just storing files. And as I told earlier, CSC, they have this digital preservation service, and we can preserve the audio, moving images, many standard file types. But it's for organization, it's for standardized file formats, and it's far from flexible. And software-based works require other methods. They often use emulation, so we are simulating original operating system or hardware. And CSC doesn't want to have emulation system to their their preservation service. And that for the artwork should be documented, or behavior or interaction or installation notes, everything is important. And of course, source code preservation is very important, and environment reconstruction. So there are many dependencies and libraries that come often old. And so we have challenges in this digital preservation. Current preservation methods ensure long-term accessibility for some digital formats. Therefore, preservation must be planned carefully and proactively. And because I'm coming from museum, and museum basic work is to preserve art for future generations. And then we have this climate change, and together they make a strong demand for sustainability. And then what can we do? So there are preservation strategies to choose. One thing is that you should document the core idea of your artwork, and artist is the best person to do that. So capture the conceptual essence, not only hardware, software, or formats, but the very idea of what is the heart of your artwork and what you want to say and how does everything works together. Identify the essential elements, determine which parts of the artwork are replaceable and which must remain unchanged. And make technical choices. If you can, use standard formats whenever it is possible, but keep the core concept in mind. It is the most important, the heart of your artwork. Here are some strategies what you can use. You can preserve the work as it is. You can migrate or maintain the full system. It is most costly and most demanding. It requires ongoing updates, part replacement and repairs. And I have worked in museum more than 20 years, and I know that most of the museums in Finland, they don't have possibilities to maintain the system all the time. So there are other strategies also. You can preserve part of the work. Some of the pieces in artwork can freeze as a sculptural artifact once the digital component becomes obsolete. And third solution, for example, is to preserve it as a documentation. So you can rely on through records, video, photos, technical notes to represent the work when reactivation is not possible. And also one possible is, of course, to do it in a new way, but such a way that it doesn't harm your core idea. And I have only one example of Kiasma's collection. This is Jenna Sutela's iMagma from year 2019. And this artwork consists of two parts. There were several head-shaped lava lamps, and then there was a mobile app and an app that turns lava lamp patterns and use motion into AI-generated predictions inspired by the Chinese fortune-telling book I Ching. And after, when this app doesn't work longer, these lava lamps can be presented as a sculpture, and there will be a documentation also in part of that system. And in this case, I remember that museum bought a couple of lava lamps to restore them then in a storage. But usually it is not possible in museums because we don't have enough space for storage. So we do what we can, but yeah, and some words about documentation. So think your artwork as a system. Files, software, codes, hardware, dependencies, instruction, documentation, and describe how components interact and support the core idea. Documentation essential. So there must be installation instruction, technical requirements, dependencies list, and artist intent, and what can change or must remain, and photo and video of installation, and that of course can be done also in museum. And with museum, it's good to agree some things. Ideally, I said here, ideally, contracts define life cycle or acceptable changes and responsibilities. But documentation and source code should come from the artist, and of course it is not used anywhere else. It is safe in museum. It is for the artwork, and of course museums always ask from artist if artist is alive, that when they are doing it again, so how in what way and things like that. And sometimes remaking is easier than maintaining, and acquisition an installation instruction and baseline documentations would be good to include. I know that if you're doing documentation properly, and it can be very time demanding, so it must be carefully planned how to do it. And few words about storage media. Of course, we all know cloud, and I think many of us use this, but basic words about it. There is data distributed across several data centers to avoid loss, and administrator guarantees proper system operation. Access control via accounts, permissions, and strong authentication. And there is encryption protects data both in transit and at rest. And provider handles updates, patches, and physical security. But user has also responsibility, and you should be aware of cloud risk. So use strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and be careful when sharing settings. Because cloud services can still fail, so keep always your own independent backups. And nowadays, because the geopolitical system changes has been huge, it's good to think which cloud could be best. So EU-based cloud is right now the best solution. So there are services that are hosted within EU, and all data protections are in EU laws and including GDPR, which we all love, of course. And there are solutions in Finland, for example, UpCloud, in Germany, Hesner. In Finnish National Gallery, we use Hesner, and we have good experience with it. And there is also Ionos and France OVG Cloud. And then back again to hard drives or drivers. There are two kinds of. There are HDD and SSD, and both them last very short time. SSD is fast and silent and durable and pricier. HDD is cheap for large storage, and it's slower and it can have mechanical wear. So hard drivers are not long-term storage as themselves. There is a method which you can use. This is called 3-2-1 method. You should have 3 copies of your important data and 2 different types of storage media, and 1 copy stored offsite in so-called dark archive. You can, for example, use external SSD or HDD and institutional storage if possible, Microsoft 365 or OneDrive for business, and cloud as secondary. But avoid USB sticks as primary, and avoid single copy reliance. So apply the 3-2-1 rule. And then there is some solutions nowadays. There is this data protection and performance technology, which combines multiple disks into a single logical storage group, and it provides redundancy. So write one mirrors data from one to another. It is not the device, it works inside a NAS or server or personal computer. And then there is this NAS, network attached storage. It's a device or platform, and sometimes external drives can be connected to a NAS server for backup purposes. And it can be used right, but does not require it. And my colleague, head of the IT in Finnish National Gallery, Kari Peipponen, have thought a lot about safe harbor things because he's going to retire and still going to do some things. And I'm not going to go this whole picture as a whole, but he thinks that Linux workstation is the most safest way. And then you can, at this moment at least, Apple and Mac and Windows workstations are in safe harbor. And then there are some programs, SoftMaker Office, LibreOffice, Handbrake, FFmpeg, Filezilla, etc., which are good. And Danger Jones is in there in the artificial intelligence and social media side. And some words about formats, because there are millions of formats and they can last long or they can last very short time. And this is aligned with CSC, Digital Preservation Finland, and I know that worldwide it is used because they make kind of study for formats. In videos, Apple Press is most used, is high quality, but it's lossy format and it's closed, so they don't accept it as an archival format. So we have to normalize it to FF11 codec in Matroska container, but we also put save also the Apple ProRes. So we have both. We have archival lossless FF1 V1, and then we have this native Apple ProRes. And there is lossy compressors in Big 4, and there are different versions of it, but they are lossy. In audio, there are archival lossless formats, for example, WAV, iFlag, which are very good, and then there are containers for them, PLSCM, Matroska, and Move container. And images, diff, PNG, DNG, JPG are good. And then nowadays, web archive format WARC is acceptable there. And PDF-E is the best because there are several formats of PDF, and they can be very tricky and they can be not so nice when thinking, when doing the validation of them. But you can read more about these from Digital Preservation Finland's pages, and there you can see there's a specification for 5 formats. And as I said, there are also versions, so remember some of the versions are so old that they are not good. And you can process videos and audio with FFmpeg and video with Handbrake. And this is important, even nowadays. Avoid unnecessary conversions, because each conversion may reduce file quality, and repeated conversions cause cumulative degeneration, and conversions increases the risk of errors. So always know why you are converting, and remember, someday you will need to convert, so keep your originals safe, because those formats, they don't last forever. And then useful tools. A few words about checksum. Checksums are digital fingerprints used to ensure that file has not changed during transfer of storage. It is largely used nowadays, and use modern secure algorithms such as SHA-256 or SHA-521. Avoid MD5 and SHA-1 because they are both cryptically broken. And always compute the checksum using the same operating system and the same software to avoid differences in implementation and defaults. By comparing checksums before and after copying or moving a file, you can confirm it is identical to the original and detect corruption or unintended changes. So Few key takeaways. Preserve the concept, plan early, and use recommended formats when you can. Follow 3-to-1 backups, generate checksums, document truly, coordinate the artwork's life cycle and rights with the museum owner gallery in a flexible manner whenever it is possible. And here is more references. This concept idea comes from the Date Gallery, and from their pages you can find more information. And here is the specification for file format. So I thank you.
Thank you so much, Susanna. There was so much information. And also, I would say, even for not just artists, but in general, on how to really keep your whatever kind of materials you have safe. So, very useful. So, maybe we could also share those links on the chat because I very much want to dig into deeper to this digital preservation website and everything. So thank you very much. So we agreed that we would continue directly with the second speaker, and we'll combine all the questions and comments and whatever doubts to the end. So we will have plenty of time to discuss in the end of this webinar. You can also submit any questions or comments to the chat already in advance, and then we'll go through them when we get to the Q&A session. But thank you, Susanna, and please welcome Tommi Merelin, who is the CEO and founder of the Virtual Art Gallery. And he is a product strategist, futurist, and creative technologist with over 25 years of experience working at the intersection of humanity and technology. So continue with these tech issues. His background spans art, architecture, product marketing, and creative leadership, with a career focused on turning ambitious visions into accessible, human-centered digital experiences. So very much looking forward to hearing that. Tommi works closely with artists, institutions, and cultural organizations worldwide to explore how digital platforms can extend the accessibility of cultural heritage and foster meaningful connections in a global economy. He is known on his hands-on approach and straight-talking perspective, and he challenges traditional assumptions about ownership and access, focusing on practical, future-proof ways to ensure art is experienced, remains accessible and sellable, rather than gathering dust in locked warehouses or waiting unseen in artist studios. So today, Tommi's presentation is titled, and this is quite expanded also, rethinking access, ownership, and visibility of art through future-proof digital platforms that keep artwork accessible, experienced, and economically viable beyond physical and institutional limits. So please, Tommi.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
That was a mouthful, the intro. That was long. So
That
I
was
don't think
long.
I don't think I have to,
So
have to
maybe
talk
you can
that much
split
about
it into
myself.
smaller pieces.
Yeah, I'm Tommi. I'm the CEO of Virtual Art Gallery, and we are a privately owned startup from Finland. So yeah, I would say that is the shorter version of it. I will go to my slides directly so you can see the content itself. So can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So the title has been changed a bit, but the content gonna be the same. So today I will be talking about how to make art archives more accessible, and I would say not only archives but also art in general. And I will be focusing more on the visibility and access side, not so much on the archiving itself, but how you can make archives visible and accessible instead of hidden. And this actually, as I listened to it, like a nice continuation of the previous presentation. So while you now have the artworks archived, you are only a couple of clicks away of making them also accessible to the public. Yes, but really get to know us, I think I have to start from the beginning, so you would know what we do and why we do it. So we feel that the art world is not democratic at all, and we exist to make a difference in that. So yeah, the art world is stuck in the past. It functions as it has for the last hundreds of years, and not much has changed. So I think the current ways of doing art sales and exhibiting art, they're pretty inefficient and unsustainable. And more importantly, the whole market is closed. The access is controlled by gatekeepers, and not everyone has the opportunity to make it. And art is also limited by reality. Of course, it should be experienced live in real life, but the market of today doesn't work that way. We are living in a remote economy, and yeah, reality comes in a way. So the real exhibitions, they are bound to one location, they are open for a limited time, and once the exhibition is over, it's gone. And all the effort that you have put into the exhibition it's wasted. And of course, a lot of money also in the process. So one opinion I hear a lot is that my art cannot be displayed virtually and it must be experienced live. But I do have a counter opposition for that. Yeah, but do you have an Instagram account, website, and how about an online viewing room? So I would say those are not real art either. They are online versions of it, and there is, with those kind of formats, there's a lack of sense and scale, and also the spatial context. And usually artworks are displayed as single images instead of curated collections, if they are shown at all, because a lot of art is hidden in warehouses and studios, and also archives. But for people to enjoy the art, it should also be accessible. And for artists and galleries, it should also be visible and available for sale. You know, people are not buying artworks that are not shown. So I think it's like vital for the business. And yes, there are lots of people who love art and would love to go to more exhibitions. But again, reality comes in a way. And it's simply not possible to visit exhibitions from around the world. And since the art itself has been gatekept, a lot of it will be hidden forever. So it's not accessible to anyone. And this statistics show that also people would love to buy real art instead of mass-produced alternatives. And many people also feel like the galleries are a bit elitistic and maybe not meant for them. And I would say that online exhibitions, they lower the barrier of entry and make art accessible to more people. So there's like a lot of hidden demand in this regard. So what we are an art gallery, unlimited by reality, and our exhibitions are accessible to everyone. Our name doesn't mean that we act in virtual reality, but it means that we are a virtual gallery. So we don't exist in reality, and we only exist virtually. But that also means that we are also we are infinitely scalable. And the outcomes, I would say, they are online art exhibitions. We do not say virtual galleries or online experiences or whatever, but they are art exhibitions because they are the closest thing to reality that you can get online. And so, yeah, not only do we develop products to exhibit art, but we are also focusing heavily on the visitor side. That means beautiful experiences and also ways to connect with artists. And I would go to say that our most important customer eventually will be the art buyers. And what does all of this mean? So our goal is to give the power back to where it belongs, and more opportunities for the artists to make it and also to make a living. And for the visitor, we offer the opportunity to make the world a little bit better place. And they can support the artists directly. And for us, I think democracy means more art. It means real art and real connection. And all of this also has a global impact. So to circle back on our mission and vision of democracy and equal opportunities, as well as sustainability and lowering emissions. So I would say that we are like contributing to multiple sustainable development goals mentioned by the UNICEF. So going to the exhibitor side. And also, I would say for curators and any other archive keepers or whoever wants to show their art or exhibit their art online. So we have a way of creating these beautiful exhibitions, and it's super easy and it's super fast. I actually made a video on our social media where I created and published a simple 10-word. It was 10 artworks, I believe. And if I remember correctly, it took me 52 seconds to create the exhibition. And I mean also mean published. It was a fully functional 3D website, and it was ready to share, and it was ready to visit. And all of it happened in under a minute. So this really is like a super simple and super easy product to use. The ease of use, and also I think our affordable prices mean that we are available for everyone. So not only to visit the exhibitions, but to create them. And one thing that also allows this to, is our prefab galleries. So you just pick one of our 3D galleries and off you go. So which means compared to real exhibition, you also have a choice. You are not limited to one single exhibition space, but you can choose your own. And of course, for those who want something extra, we can design a bespoke space. That usually means museums and like larger institutions. All of the spaces have been designed to be the perfect backdrop for the art to shine in the front, which means that it's not the spaces that you're looking at the art, and the space is only there to support the content. And of course, you can exhibit all kinds of artworks. This is a digital platform after all, and even 3D. And I would say that the newest smartphone 3D scanners, they work wonders. I've tried them. You can actually scan your sculptures even and put them online. It doesn't take a couple of minutes also. And you can, of course, create any kind of digital content altogether. You can do fully digital like installations. And of course, you can show any kind of content. And of course, as we are talking about online exhibitions, you can also add links. And for example, if you have an online store, you can add a link for the customers to buy directly from the online store. Or if you have, for example, an archive which can have public links, you can direct the user directly to the content. That also means that there's no need to add everything to the exhibitions itself, and they can be kept light and created quickly, because a lot of the content can be experienced later on if the visitor wants to have some more information. So yes, the exhibitions, they are effectively web pages, and you can share them anywhere on your social media with QR codes, in your emails, whatever you have at hand. And they basically they are an extension to what you are already doing. So you don't have to think of this as a standalone solution to something, but you're already having the content, you're already doing marketing, you're doing sales, you're doing something. So this is just an easy way to add to the workflow and start doing it more effectively. And yeah, talking about extension, I would say there are also an integration. So as I said, you can have links to your online stores, for example. So whatever you're currently doing, online exhibitions, they can be integrated into your workflow. And this might also interest many of you, because as we are talking about exhibitions that happen outside reality, it also means that the real art can be kept safe while you showcase it only online, because there's no unnecessary handling or logistics. And yeah, accidents happen, and in the case of art, it might be unreversed. The damage can be undone, and because the artworks are priceless, you really don't want to put them in harm's way. And what our platform also allows is, of course, to exhibit more. You can have multiple exhibitions open at the same time. You can save them for virtually forever. And as the space is unlimited, you don't have to cram everything in one exhibition. And you can create these smaller exhibitions and create them more. Because it's fast and it's simple, and it also keeps the content bite-sized and enjoyable for the visitor. And actually, yeah, over time, you can actually build a full portfolio of your exhibitions. I would say for our galleries and artists, this means a way to keep your art available for sale also in the future. I would say this slide pretty much explains itself. The spaces, they do not have the distractions of reality. As I said, they are like the backdrop for the art. And of course, because all of the work will be done virtually, so there's no need for manual labor or any kind of logistics. And there's no installation and no photography needed. So again, super fast and super easy to create. And this is actually a brand new feature. It was launched yesterday, so it's like super new. And we just introduced an artist profile, which means that you can actually have a professional online identity, which can effectively replace the need for a full website. Of course, you can have a website, but for example, artists, do they really need it at all? And all of this is included in our product for every user, even in our free plan. And pretty something also that's hot from the press. This is I saw this today morning, this Instagram post. So yes, you can also use the profile we created. You can use it as your Instagram bio. So it's basically one link that leads your visitors to your biography, your contact information, all of your links, and also in our case, directly to your exhibitions. And you can also rename the link that you can share with your own name. So it can also be found with search engines and, for example, the new AI tools. So as a recap for exhibitors, these are the benefits. I would say they apply for artists and galleries, obviously, but also for curators and anyone else who wants to exhibit their art online. So yeah, the main things I would say are the ease of use and speed. And these are not expensive one-offs that require a lot of planning. So as I said earlier, if you have an exhibition idea, you have artworks on hand, you are only minutes away from sharing them with your audience. And a quick word about the visitor side. I would say the main thing for them is that the exhibitions work with any web browser. So the exhibitions can be visited safely, remotely, and from anywhere at any time. And as I said earlier, this of course also means there's a lot more art to experience. The topmost exhibition in the picture is actually an exhibition we recently made for the Sydney Catholic schools in Australia. And in fact, all of the exhibitions in a picture, they are schools. I think the middle one is Hyper Island from Sweden, and the bottom one is Stuart Semple Art School from the UK. And we actually have, I would say that we have hundreds of schools as our customers. So those are like one of our biggest customer groups at the moment. And again, this is, I would say, the same thing, but from a different angle. The experience has been designed to be the next best thing. So not to replace the real art, but to make it more accessible. And it means all of this, I would say. The exhibitions, they are intuitive, they are immersive, and they are simply, that's beautiful to look at. And yeah, the gallery settings, spatial context, and real scale of the artworks makes them as close to real as possible. Yeah, the same thing, but from a different angle. Yeah, they are browser-based, but that actually means the ease of access and also the accessibility for even to the lower income groups of people around the world. The exhibitions work with any mobile phone, so you don't need any kind of like special gear for it. No virtual reality headsets or something. Not even apps and no signups. So they are basically websites, and you just click a link and you visit. And yeah, you can share the link anywhere. So as a recap for the visitor side, I would say that it has these three benefits. It's just beautiful place to be, and yeah, they are like one click away to be visited from your mobile phone, for example. Yeah, this is a little bit about us. We are, as I said, we are a Finnish startup, but we already have like 35,000 customers from all over the world, including every kind of customer group that you can think of. Artist galleries, museums, and schools, as I said before, but also private collectors. We have cultural institutions and foundations, and also like a lot of brands. And in fact, I would say after this webinar, I will hop onto a remote meeting with an ad agency in New York. So we are creating a pretty cool thing. It's going to be launched maybe, I would say, next month in the city of New York. So if you're still wondering why you should do this, what are the reasons to hop on this? Or I would say this is the main reason. And I have a lot of slides, but if you only remember one slide, please remember this one. So I would say this is like the most important thing. The visitors spend time in the exhibitions. The 5 to 15 minutes here, that's the average. But I actually recently checked the Malva Museum analytics, and someone has spent almost 2 hours in one of the exhibitions. And I would say that's a lot because compared to a website, they usually get around maybe 10 to 30 seconds. Or I would social media post, they scroll past in average, so I would say 1.7 seconds or something. And that data is from 10 years ago. So I believe it's much shorter these days. Maybe it's 1 second or something. So people still spend a lot of time creating those posts, and yeah, it's basically for nothing. But yeah, all of this time, it means focused time spent with art and also immersed in experience. It's immersed in a story, immersed in the content, and actually like really like interacting with the art. So like there's a lot of upside also, not only the time, but it's focused time. So yeah, and you still don't believe me. I think we have pretty good feedback. Our users and visitors, they love us. We recently did a customer survey, and they gave us a 4.8 out of 5 rating, and our NPS score was 80%, which is pretty good. And we actually won even a small award a couple of years ago in a Grand One Media Awards in a category of best work advancing equality. We got the honorary mention. So that's what we are and what we do. So I hope we answered at least some questions about using art exhibitions to make art more accessible. We care about us. The core team we have, it's super small, but we also have a pretty good roundup of international investors and advisors, and as well as available freelancers who are helping us with our global expansion. So we have to be really nimble to keep the cost down so we can remain accessible to more artists. But that, of course, doesn't mean that we are running a complete charity. But of course, our prices are super low. So again, one takeaway, you should sign up, of course, because it's free to begin using. There's no risk. You don't even need a credit card to sign up. So just go to our website and off you go. And we just released the artist profile. So of course, that means that the product is even more valuable now, but it also means that there will be some changes to the pricing and plans in the near future. But at the moment, you can get 10 exhibitions for €9 a month, which is pretty low. But I think we are reducing the number a little bit in the next couple of weeks. But if you upgrade now, your price will be low forever. So we are like pretty open about that. And yes, you should also like publish your profile and log your own name also as the URL before someone else does it. So there's only one name for each of the people out there. So be fast and claim your name. And if you like what we do, of course, please follow us. You can find me with my name on any kind of social media. I would prefer LinkedIn, of course. And if you have any questions, just send me a DM and I will be happy to assist with anything. And you can, of course, follow us on our virtual art gallery on all of these platforms. Again, I purposely put the last slide already in the middle of this presentation, because then I can show these exhibition examples as many of them as I can. The video might be a little bit choppy because this is streaming, but I will make sure that this presentation is also available for you. Look at the later on. The videos will work better, and you can check also the exhibition from the links. And the first one is Malva Museum, which I already mentioned, that had visitors spending 2 hours in these exhibitions. We actually did 6 exhibitions for them. They ordered it as a turnkey service. They didn't do it themselves. The exhibitions included a lobby space that had direct links to each of the exhibitions. So they're like different categories, and there was exhibitions sponsored by was Amnesty International, and then there was exhibitions for the winners and stuff like that. But this is like a good example of doing more smaller exhibitions instead of one huge one. It also means that, for example, this exhibition that happened live, they also got like 6 different content to share on the social media and on their website out of this one collection. And the next one, I think most of you might recognize the name, and it was a exhibition made for David Lynch exhibition, happened in Helsinki a couple of years ago. This was actually a project that was acted as a teaser for the real exhibition. So it was, again, something that you could share online as a sneak peek. And there was a direct link to buy tickets to the actual exhibition. So this exhibition, it basically acted as content marketing material to share online. And Outside Art Festival, we have worked with them for a long time. And I would say they are a prime example how we can provide visibility for artists that might otherwise have no possibility to exhibit their art in normal galleries. And in this case, I would say the accessibility doesn't only mean mobility issues when you are visiting them, but also accessibility for the people who have problems with social happenings, for example. This was something that I even haven't thought about, but it came up when we were talking about, for people, for example, people with autism. They do not like to go to real exhibitions, but because they can be experienced remotely, it's a totally different ballgame. Another great example, how you can exhibit something that is definitely not accessible in reality. So this was an exhibition that was modeled based on an ancient Egyptian tomb that was created especially for people to visit. And I think it's like pretty much closed. It's of course it's in Egypt, and not even many people had the access to the even if they're professionals. So yeah, this way you can show something that is not accessible in reality. The first version of the exhibition was created as an AR experience, like augmented reality, and it happened inside the museum. But we later converted it to mobile use. So actually, at this today, you can visit the same exhibitions directly from a link. Sääskilahti's example, I would say this is closest to the archive theme, because the exhibition they created was based on Jesta Sääskilahti's foundation's artworks, which are not on display in the museum itself. So this is basically artwork that is in the warehouse, and it's going to stay there. It's never going to be shown anywhere, and they do not have the space for it. And the virtual architecture here, it was inspired by the real museum, and it's not an exact copy, but it's like an interpretation of the real architecture. And again, I would say that this is a good example of how the virtual space can be even better than a real one. Yeah, there are no electrical outlets or any kind of exit signs there. Väinöhallinto Museum, example of many things. It has 3D scanned artworks. The art exhibition was created in multiple languages. I believe it had almost like 5 languages, I believe. And again, a custom space, but it's not a fully custom space, but it was based on the prefab galleries that we have made ready for all of our users. But using these small modifications, we could create a custom space with a little bit lower cost. And yeah, another custom solution that showcases the real opportunities when you are doing bespoke exhibitions. There's even like staircases. There are custom installations that are nowhere. They are not happening in reality. And of course, also the architecture is something that represents the artist, not like it wouldn't be usable for many artists, but it's made especially for them. And another example about this, the real benefits of creating online exhibitions. And this is a real exhibition, and it has been traveling the world, but I believe it has been traveling to maybe 15 countries in reality, but with the online exhibitions, it has been like doubled or tripled even. And when the exhibition was happening in South America, I believe it was half a year ago, it was available to visit with a QR code that was found on billboards or metro stations, which means that people who are like commuting to their work could just scan the QR code and spend the commuting time on the metro inside an art exhibition and not doom scrolling on Instagram. And last but not least, I put this list because this is actually an exhibition that has been created fully with our prefab galleries, and it was actually one of our first customers. Victoria is an African artist who still, I believe she currently works from the US, but the beautiful artworks, and again, showcases like the ease of use and how immersive the even like the fashion artworks can be inside a virtual exhibition. Yeah, recap here again. So you remember to join, it's free. And if you want to pay, it's only €9. And I believe my time is up. So if I have any, I believe I have a couple of minutes left even, but yeah, this was 50 slides. So if I went too fast, I will make sure that the presentation is shareable for you guys later on. So thank you. I will now end my sharing.
All right, thank you
Thanks.
very much to both of you. I mean, you have provided us with a lot of mind-blowing content. So, and as we were hoping and kind of seeing in advance, these presentations perfectly complement each other. So, uh, even seeing the National Gallery's logo on your vast list of collaborators and service providers